What's up, everybody? John here, ready for another MLB takeover of the Inside the Lines show. We had a fun week last week. We did it on Wednesday, and we won a lot of money. So we're hoping we can give you guys some good information, some good plays to get after it today as well. Jake, we'll bring you in. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I had a couple of close calls on some prize picks plays yesterday. It just didn't go my way, but I saw you hit your 6-leg parlay, so that's big.
Yeah, I was very excited. I haven't hit one since the All-Star break. So, and I was one hitter fantasy point with Altuve away 2 days ago. So glad to finally get one of those in the bag. We've got Steven and Derek in the chat for you guys. They'll be answering any college football, hockey questions now, and NFL questions that you might have. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Jake and I are going to get after it. First, we'll look back at exactly how we did last Wednesday when we took over. Jake and I did pretty well. We were 12-4. I believe it was plus 8.4 units. So we want to give you guys the best information possible, but it also helps when we're hitting our picks. So we'll get into the rest of our plays for today, though. We'll go back into our futures. So I gave this future out in our last show, the NL East to win the World Series, which essentially just covers the Braves and the Phillies. And I got it at 215, but it's now on 185 on DK because the Rangers moved through. So the AL West is juiced all the way to about even odds. So we're getting great value on this still. And I still think whoever wins the Braves-Phillies series is going to end up winning the World Series. So if you're not on this play, feel free to jump on it. And that being said, we'll get into our games today. We only have 3 games instead of the projected 4 because one of the series ended yesterday. The Rangers swept the Orioles, but we can get into the other 3 games. Jake, what do you think about the Astros-Twins game? I know you have a play on this. We'll go to that one first.
Yeah, I know we were talking about this before the show. I'd like over 8. I think the Astros are going to score plenty of runs. The biggest question here is whether or not the Twins are going to score. I think that they'll have more success today against Urquidy now that they're not playing against Javier and they don't have to deal with those shadows yesterday. Those shadows mixed with that invisible fastball that Javier throws and his playoff performances, it's just not fair. So I think if the Twins could get 3 runs or 4 runs, it easily goes over. It's just if they could hit. Kepler had some really good at-bats yesterday. He went over 4, but he had good contact. And I think if he gets going at the top of the lineup, the 2 spot, they should get some runs in.
Yeah, I mean, Christian Javier's stuff is like the perfect stuff for shadows.
Yeah.
His fastball kind of takes off. His slider, you can't see it coming. You kind of have to guess. And we kind of saw that with the Twins hitters yesterday. I like that over. I also like the Astros on the money line in that game. I think Jose Urquidy is going to pitch well. He's been getting a lot of these kind of like weird spot starts in playoff games. Like for example, last year, he only made 1 playoff appearance, but it was for 3 innings in the World Series, and he only allowed 1 hit and no runs. So, and then same idea a couple of seasons back. He's pitched in the playoffs 5 years in a row now, whereas Joe Ryan's making his debut. I also don't think Joe Ryan's going to go very deep in the game because the Twins are facing an elimination game. They have tomorrow off. Their whole bullpen's ready. So I think they'll likely bring in their bullpen early, but I just don't see how you can stop the Astros offense right now. Jordan Alvarez, especially that hot. So I really like that one. Jake, what do you think of the Phillies-Braves game?
I am surprised that the Braves were favorites early, especially because the Phillies have such a massive pitching advantage here. The Braves, they're probably good. They're going to have they announced this Elder. I know they haven't had it announced yet.
Yeah, they did an hour and a half ago, officially announced it. I was thinking they might go with an opener before him, but he's starting.
Yeah, so they have a young pitcher and Elder. And Elder is good at times, but you just never know what you're going to get out of Elder. And you know more what you're going to get out of Aaron Nola as an experienced starter. So I would lean the Phillies. I don't have an official play in this game, but I definitely lean the Phillies because of that pitching advantage there and the home field advantage.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. So I'm officially playing the Phillies. Y'all can see that play in the middle there. Aaron Nola, he's faced the Braves 3 times this season. And the 2 most recent times he pitched 2 quality starts. One of those was on September 20th, which was about a month ago. And he absolutely dealt in Atlanta. 8 Ks, 0 walks. And last year when he faced the Braves in the playoffs, I believe he allowed 1 run in 6 innings as well. 1 run or 0 runs against the Braves. So He's been pitching pretty well, and he's been doing it against the Braves as well. Bryce Elder making his first career playoff start. And then I think the Braves could bring in their bullpen early, but if they do that, then they're kind of thin tomorrow when they have another rookie that's going to start. So Charlie Morton being off the roster for this, being injured for this series is massive. And I agree. I think that's going to make the difference with the Phillies at home. I mean, we saw them last year win the first game, lose the second game, go home and win both. And that was the series. So we're kind of seeing the same idea here, in my opinion. All right, we'll go on to our last game here. We got Dodgers Diamondbacks. What do you think of this one, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind an overplay here. I was going back and forth. It scares me. I also don't mind a Diamondbacks play here just because they've looked so good in the first two games and the Dodgers are on the ropes. And we've seen a lot of these teams who are up 2-0, they just win the third game. So I don't mind that play right there that you have.
Yeah, I like the over there too. I'm personally going with the Diamondbacks in the money line. I just think that this value is too good to pass up. I mean, you could say that the Dodgers have the starting rotation advantage, but they've allowed 9 earned runs in 2 innings pitched the first 2 games. Lance Lynn, it's not like he has a ton of playoff experience, but he's not like he's been dominant in the playoffs. He allowed, I believe, it was 3 earned runs in 2 innings last year, and then same idea the year before. And then the most recent playoff experience from there was like 2015. You might remember the Yankees outing, which was one of them. I think it was in 2018. He allowed like two runs in 1 inning, maybe. Mm-hmm. But he's going against Brandon Pfaadt, who kind of got that first playoff start out of his way, and he can relax now with the Diamondbacks being up 2-0 and at home. This is also the first. In 2017, the Diamondbacks were swept by the Dodgers in the division series, but they won the wild card game against the Rockies. I think you remember that game, Jake. That was the Archie Bradley triple game. Back all the way to, when pitchers were still hitting in the National League. That was an absurd game. So I think Chase Field is going to be absolutely rocking tonight, especially with being up 2-0. There's not going to be any nervous energy. And their lineup is just so hot. I've said before, if you keep Freddie and Mookie down, if you hold them, off base, then the Dodgers lineup is very easy to navigate, or not easy, I should say, but very navigatable. It's easy to get through if you need to, if you can get those 2 guys out. So I really like the Diamondbacks in this game. I think the value is great. And I mean, the Dodgers just don't look promising to me right now. All right, we'll go on to our next thing here. So we're going to give you all of our props, and we're going to do it by game. So we'll start with the first game, Phillies Braves. So we've got my props in the red and Jake's in the, I don't know if it's black or blue or what, but it's dark. Let's just go with that. So Jake, you want to explain your 2 first?
Yeah, I'm going with Bryce Harper over half a run. It kind of goes into your plays. I think after Harper gets pissed off, you want to bet on him. He's one of those players that you don't want to bet against when he's mad. He had that base running blunder, which he was definitely a little too aggressive there. But I mean, it was a heck of a play by Mike Harris. I think this is a good matchup for Harper. And I think, was it Orlando Arcia was making fun of him in the dugout after that game? And you don't want to give someone like Bryce Harper, one of the best players in the league, motivation. So I think that was a little costly there. I don't mind hits, runs, RBIs. It was at -150, so that's a little juicy. But over half a run at -120, I thought had some pretty good value. I think we have him scoring a run in like 70% of the time in our model. I know Steven could find that. And Trey Turner over half a stolen base. He had a bad stolen base matchup last game because he had to go against the lefty and Fried. But he's going against Bryce Elder, who is a rookie here. Is he still considered a rookie to start the season? I think so, right?
Yeah.
Half a season last year. And if he gets on base early, he's going to want to get into the rookie's head and get a stolen base. And if you have a guy on second, no outs, it's going to really fluster a pitcher making his first career postseason start. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets on base early in the first inning. He tries to immediately steal a base. He's 34 of 34 stealing bases this season. So I like that play.
Yeah, and obviously tough matchup with Max Fried last game, but he had an attempted stolen base in each of the 3 games before that in the playoffs. So I really like that play as well. I've got 3 plays here. Like you said, Jake, why why give Bryce Harper bulletin board material? Like, you've got to be thinking that somebody's going to hear you and it's going to get out. The second I saw that, like getting around, that Orlando RCO is cackling and saying, haha, Bryce, like I just started smiling because I know that they're going to respond. Like neither of these teams need bulletin board material. They already hate each other. So adding to that is not ideal. But then also Bryce, I like Bryce over 1.5 total bases and then paired with his over 0.5 walks for essentially that same reason. I think he's going to get an extra base hit. I think he could have multiple hits. I think he could hit a home run. There are lots of ways to cash that. And then I also don't think he's going to get walked to or get pitched to. He's been walked in, I believe it's each of the playoff game, not the last one, but I believe each of the playoff games before that. He's been getting pitched around. It's the same kind of treatment as Jordan Alvarez. If there's a base open, you're going to want to put him on. So I really like those two paired together. And then Eddie Rosario under 0.5 total bases. He's been getting pinch hit for as soon as a lefty comes in. And with the Phillies, multiple lefties in Strom, Soto, Alvarado, I think one of them will come in late. So we could only get 2, maybe 3 at bats from Rosario. So I like that under because of that. We'll go on to our next game here. Jake, you want to go first? You got 2 props on this one.
Yeah, this is another Yordan Alvarez. You can't bet against him after what he's doing. He should have had, 4 hits yesterday, but they counted the first one as an error because of some home field scoring right there. I mean, he also just is one of those players who turns it on in the playoffs and he hits everything over 100 miles per hour and on a rope. And when a guy like that is feeling it, he's seeing beach balls out there. So I like over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs at -145. And Joe Ryan over 3.5 hits allowed. This one scares me because you don't know how long he's going to stay in the game. But I think in the first 2 innings, if Yordan and Altuve are hitting like they've been the last couple of games, I think that could hit pretty quickly.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Looks like Big Cheesy agrees with us as well. I mean, I'm with you. Jordan Alvarez, I mean, you're not stopping him right now. And he's also a guy that can get this prop in multiple ways. He can hit a home run. He can hit a double. He can get multiple singles. And then I'm also pairing it with the walks because they're not going to pitch to him. If I were Bracco Badelli yesterday, I would honestly have considered walking him with the bases empty at some point because that's how hot he is right now, or at least with 2 outs. So getting this walk prop at plus money, I got it last night at plus money. I believe it's -110 now is good. And then just same idea with you, Joe Ryan under 14.5 outs. I'm a little worried that he's not going to get deep in the game. Well, not worried, but I don't think he's going to get very deep in the game because it's an elimination game because the Twins bullpen is entirely rested. I don't think they're going to rely on Ryan that long. And I definitely don't think they'll ask for 5 innings out of him in his playoff debut. Jose Altuve is one of the other super hot Astros. He cashed the hits, runs, RBIs prop in the first inning yesterday with a hit and then getting around. You're batting ahead of Alvarez too. You're likely to be driven in if you're on base. So we really like those props. We'll go on to our last game of props here. Jake, what do you got in this one?
I got a question. If the Twins are up 2, bases loaded, Yordan's up, what do you do?
Walk him. The Barry Bonds treatment. Walk him and try to get the next guy out.
Walk him with the bases loaded. I mean, yeah. I like Lance Lynn over 1.5 walks here. I think -140 is pretty good value considering he walks 2 pretty much every start. And especially he's going to be amped up in the playoffs. So I like this. Arizona, they're in the top half. I think they're around 12th in walks per game. So they're still in the top half of the league in walks per game. Corbin Carroll sees quite a few pitches. He takes some walks. They have some guys who take some walks. So I like that play there.
Yeah, we'll harp on the Jordan Alvarez one more time since the Dodgers are up here. But since Cheesy mentioned this, Jordan Alvarez traded for Josh Fields a very long time ago and might have been the worst trade of all time. So we can harp on them a little bit there. Good question, Big Cheesy. Jason Hayward, I do like this under. I think he'll likely get pinch hit for at some point, and his at-bats have looked awful. I mean, he's been striking out a lot, and he's not usually a guy that strikes out. So I really do like that one. Then my other 3, Corbin Carroll over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. It's juicy. The books are catching up to us here. This was, I believe, even money 2 days ago. So, but Corbin Carroll's probably the hottest guy in the league right now. He's batting at the top of the lineup. He's getting on base. He could get multiple hits. He's scoring runs and he's knocking guys in. So there are tons of ways that he can cash his prop. I always call him the perfect hits, runs, RBIs guy because he is. He just racks up those three stats. Geraldo Perdomo, he's batting at the bottom of the lineup again. And he's a switch hitter, so he likely won't get pinch hit for, but he's not the best hitter and he's been super cold. So we're going to keep going with that one. Miggy Rojas, same idea on the other side. He's batting in the bottom of the lineup. He could get pinch hit for, though. We saw that a couple of games ago. He's been getting his hits before he's been getting pulled, but we're going to keep sticking with him here. And at plus money, I think there's definitely value. Definitely love the Lance Lynn walks as well. I'm worried that he won't get very deep in the game, but I think he'll walk enough to cash that one. All right. And we've got our recap for our player props here. And then we've got a prize picks play that Jake and I crafted that we'll give to y'all. So take a screenshot of this. I'll go through the props and all of our plays real fast. Jake's on Houston, Minnesota, over 8 runs. His props, he's on Bryce Harper, over 0.5 runs. Trey Turner, a stolen base. Yordan Alvarez, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Joe Ryan, over 3.5 hits allowed. Lance Lynn, over 1.5 walks. I'm on the Astros on the money line, the Diamondbacks on the money line, and the Phillies on the money line. Bryce Harper, over 1.5 total bases, over 0.5 walks. Eddie Rosario, under 0.5 total bases. Yordan Alvarez, over 1.5 total bases, and Yordan Alvarez to walk. Joe Ryan, under 14.5 outs. Jose Altuve, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Corbin Carroll, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. Geraldo Perdomo, under 0.5 total bases. And Miggy Rojas, under 0.5 total bases. I know it's a lot. I love playing props in the playoffs. If you're uncomfortable with the volume, just play everything at a half unit. That's what I always suggest. So we'll give you guys our prize picks play last. And Moose is very excited about this prize.
Very excited. Yes.
He knows we hit one yesterday. So hopefully we can give out a one in public for you guys. Take a screenshot of this once again. We can't really send you the link to just generate it for yourselves, but Jake and I crafted this together. 3 squares that we each like, and then a couple that we both really like. I'm on Jose Altuve and Carlos Correa hits, runs, RBIs already, but Jake, I mentioned this combo play that I really like. Jake, you want to explain your Riley play? And Harper and Alvarez.
Riley has a 1,200 OPS in his career against Aaron Nola, so he's been really good against Nola in his career. He had a good game yesterday, or 2 days ago. Alex Kirilloff, I was on that play yesterday, so I really like that. And the Yordan play is interesting because Moose is very excited. It's interesting because he his number on underdog was 11.5, and it's the same scoring system. So I think it's great value on prize picks at 8 if you can still get it there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the Kirilloff one, his total base prop was actually at 0.5 and it went to 1.5, like in the time that I was doing my research. So getting the hits, runs, RBIs on 1.5, I like as well. Corbin Carroll, we had talked about all these guys as well. Harper, he's got the bulletin board material. Alvarez is one of the hottest hitters in the league right now. Carroll's one of the hottest hitters in the league right now. And we like all those hitter scores because walks will add into those as opposed to, say, your total bases or hits, runs, RBIs. So that's why we're going with mostly hitter scores there. But that's pretty much all we got for you guys today. Make sure you take a screenshot of the prize picks, take a screenshot of our plays. As always, we really appreciate everybody tuning in. We will be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. for Inside the Lines. Jake and Steven and Derek will be going over some NFL and college football. And then Friday at 1 p.m. on Inside the Lines, we have our prop party. So Mackenzie will be back tomorrow with the rest of the NFL college football guys, and I'll be in the chat. So we really appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll be back tomorrow at 1.